Welcome to the Buzz and Reality Show, the number one Liberty podcast out of Detroit. I'm Shaun Collins, the guy with a lot to say. And this week, I got a few guests. We got Zach Attack from the Legacy Right. We got Andrew from the Legacy Right. And we have Noel Olin from Off the Wire on the show this week. We are going to do big things. I'm telling y'all right now. We are going to stir the pot. We're probably going to make a few people mad and uncomfortable, but that's what we do. Whatever, dude. Be mad. That's that. Thank you guys so much for coming on.
Hey, what's going on?
Always. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Let's get it going.
Let's get it going because there's so much to talk about. It's like, you sit down and like you said with your boy on the thermostat from the other day on your show, Noel, there's so much going on in the news cycle. Where do you even start? Like, where do you start?
All the time.
Like podcast material that falls on our laps.
Collapse of the dollar, World War III, communist takeover inside of America. Yeah, I don't know. Where do you start?
But and the silliest debate, that's the silliest, most stupidest debate that's going to happen next week.
Oh my God.
I thought you were talking about the Churchill-Hitler thing. I cannot believe people
that
fell
too.
for that.
That too. That was stupid.
Yeah, you have to be totally stupid to fall for that.
I mean, Churchill was a bad dude, but I mean, come on, dude.
You can't compare him
to it's
bad.
War. Exactly.
Hitler's bad. Churchill bad. They're all bad.
Statists are bad. What else is new? There's nothing new under the sun.
Exactly.
They're politicians sending your sons to war, setting people. I don't know what I can say on Zoom.
Wait, are you sure they're sons? Are they sons? Because we don't know anymore at this point. What's a son?
Well, we don't know now. But back then, 12 seconds ago, we knew.
What's a woman?
Yeah, that video I posted.
Like, seriously, though, what's all that? And this is why we're going to do this show, which is probably going to make some people uncomfortable, some people not so happy, and some people will be like, well, I'm glad you talked about this. So I'm going to cater to all of you. And whatever you say, you say. But seriously, we're going to talk about this week on the first Tuesday show of Buds and Reality. Well, no, it's actually not the first Tuesday show, but this is going to be the first weekly Tuesday show because we have changed days. The analytics show that Tuesdays are better than Fridays at this point. And, we're going to run with it. I got a lot of people in my ear saying, hey, you need to go Tuesday, go Tuesday, go Tuesday. We're doing it. Let's go. But, this conversation is going to be a little much for some, but it's definitely something that needs to be talked about. And that is the demise of the Western man and the family structure, because we are living this in real time right now, and it's affecting everybody. And it's also affecting the way that people look at things politically. So let's go. Let's get in. Let's dive in. We're at a situation here in 2024 where, men are bad. The family structure is bad. And by the family structure, I mean mom, dad, children. They're all together in the same household. There's no what they would call the nuclear family. This is the nuclear family, is the family that stays together, and they're pushing for this to not happen, which is how we got here today, and so let's just dig in. Noel, go for it.
They're not pushing for it to happen. They have to have it to happen. For the total destruction of the West, you must annihilate masculinity in all its purest forms. You must annihilate all original structures of any sort of fundamental foundation of successful government that the world's ever seen. And that all goes back to the nuclear family, which you can be mad about. It starts with the father. You can look at every situation that has a crisis and it almost is rooted in some sort of fatherless home. You can look at the black community for one. In the 1960s, right in the midst of civil rights movements, you had more black home ownership, more black business ownership. You had the black family was on the rise big time. Why? Because the dad was at home. That's why. Because the value of the family structure, the value of the nuclear family, the value of the father in the home could not be replaced. It cannot be replaced. And then we saw all of a sudden a 94 crime bill and then the total collapse of the black community, where now you have 80, 60 or 80%, somewhere in maybe 70% is a more accurate, fatherless, single mother households. Look what it's done. It decimated it. And a lot of that is caused self-inflection, self implosion.
Destruction.
But some of it is absolutely because of what Joe Biden and the Democrats did. And that's they started ripping fathers out of the black communities and arresting them for petty nonviolent crimes and throwing them in prison for a long time. They completely disincentivized the nuclear family structure within the black community, and they decimated it. Now, what they want to do is they want to extrapolate out from that and expand it further. It's not even up for debate. It's not. You need a man in the home.
That's really not. Andrew, go for it. Let's hear from you. Let's go.
Well, I feel like, there's a lot of dysfunction because there's not a lot of concentration on, a focused goal and maintaining and growing the members of the family, because there's no obligation to maintain a focused message for the child to grow up in. Everyone just, it's somebody else's responsibility. We're gonna advocate for somebody else to cover the responsibility, the cost, while I go out and have a life and have whoever and whatever I want to associate with, besides actually having to be responsible for their own children. And it's just you can't take your kids to daycare and expect them to be responsible and teach them the effective messaging of being a responsible human being, just to begin with.
Okay. Zach, let's go. Where's Zach?
We both read a book, and I don't know if y'all know him or like him or whatever, but he's a really good guy, has a great points to this whole culture, this welfarist culture, this lack of resource fidelity for sexual and reproduction fidelity, which is what the woman gives for the man and the man gives to the woman, right? The man takes care and protects, and that's what we're lacking. And in Arvin Voya's book, I'm drawing a blank on it, Andrew, if you can, but he discusses this, and that's what's wrong with the culture, is we've emasculated men down to nothing by drawing off of these welfarist policies to give the gratification of what women need without the man. And so who needs a man in the family structure if every man and woman, every worker really, but every man across the nation is paying for a few hundreds, few thousands, millions families, pretty much, because of the welfare policies that are put in place. I mean, it goes back to Johnson's war on poverty and Great Society policies. I'd even go as far as Kennedy's Community Mental Health Act. I mean there's a mental health issue in this time frame, and we don't have the structures put in place to actually help people with their issues.
Well, we could take this back for many decades to what happened to the Western man. Like, look at things from, the early 1900s until probably the early 70s, maybe probably even the late 60s, right? But let's be real. But like, what happened was, men were men. They went to physical education class, aka gym, and they had to do things. They had to not, I don't want to say do things, but they had to fit a criteria in order to move forward. Like they had to be able to climb a rope. They had to be able to, swim a certain amount of feet or your, meters or whatever you want to call it.
You know what you're describing?
Yes.
Competition.
Yes.
That's what you're describing. They implemented and put a high value on competition. And what does that do to the male? It hires their testosterone.
You better believe it. You better believe it. So when you look at men in gym class in the 1960s, 1970s, and before that, And then you look at men in gym class, and even in probably the 70s and 80s, because there's a big turn in the 90s. We'll get to that in a minute. But if you look at photos of men in gym class or physical education, whatever you're going to call it, in all those decades before the decades I just brought up, these guys were in shape. They had six packs, they had muscles, they had veins coming out of their arms. They were men. They were strong. They were strong men, and they weren't afraid to go get their hands dirty or, go to work in a tough job like do concrete or, frame houses or stuff like that.
They also didn't have microplastics in their balls that lowered their testosterone and atrazine in their water and chemicals in their food that destroyed everything. Anyway, maybe I'm jumping the gun here. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, please do. These are things that need to be talked about because this is what's happening to men. They have turned men into soy boys. And by soy boys, hey, if you don't understand what I'm talking about with soy, everything has soy in it now. Everything. And not to say that soy is bad. Soybeans are actually very good for us. They're a great source of protein, but we're not talking about that. We're talking about soy in our milk. We're talking about soy in our proteins. We're talking about, soy in noodles, for crying out loud.
Well, that goes back to welfareism, to subsidy. The farmer cartel basically was able to get their special interests into Congress, kind of whisper in their ear, pass some bills, give us some subsidy. We'll grow you all this excess soy. And what is like 90% of all the soy? I don't know the real statistics, but the majority of the soy grown in America today goes into your livestock feed for cattle. And the cattle eat that. So then you're consuming most of that soy through the milk or through your beef, et cetera, because they want their subsidy. I mean, they need their subsidy, really. I mean, it helps them to be able to pay their bills when they have a bad harvest or a bad season with their cow.
And soybean in and of itself is not that harmful and very useful.
No.
But the over application of soybean in all your food product, we know through the scientific studies. And if you follow Bobby Kennedy for 5 seconds, you can figure this out. It's not complicated. Soy is a natural combatant to testosterone levels. If you use in moderation, you won't see a dip in it. And something that we need to realize is what Zach's talking about is absolutely 100% correct. What they did is you're talking about people that figured this out along the way. They realized that we had to do this, or they wanted to do it for the products and the subsidies for the farmers that helped them out to grow that industry. And then they started to realize the effects of overproduced soy in all of our product and how it lowered testosterone in males. And it could make, in lowering the testosterone in males, and they do this through a wide variety, a myriad of avenues, will make males more subjective. They'll make them less
subjective. It's literally producing estrogen inside of males. These things are producing estrogen inside of males, which is another reason the male culture has gotten so soft. But let me tell you something, ladies and gentlemen, and this is going to really piss a lot of people off, but men are supposed to be savages. We're supposed to have a savage mentality. Okay.
That's the whole reason the human race survived.
Exactly.
The only reason we survived is because men are savages.
Yes, exactly. And not to mention, like, they try to say, like, these toxic masculine men are the problem with society. What's toxic about a masculine man? Do you want to know what a masculine man is? Let me point it out for you real quick. Like, a masculine man is holding doors for ladies. A masculine man is watching his tongue around ladies. A masculine man is not only going to protect ladies, but put his life on the line for ladies, especially the woman that is in his life, a la his wife.
I give you the most purest and most base definition of a masculine man to ever exist. It exists in the Bible. It's in Corinthians. Don't ask me to quote the actual verse, but it basically says, in a nutshell, wives, submit to your husbands. Men, love your husbands as Christ loved the church and so that you should give up your life for her.
Yes.
That's it.
Which is exactly what you should be doing.
Yeah.
And when they say, wives are to honor their husbands, the husband has to make sure he's giving that wife something to honor. Okay.
Right.
He's not going to be the soft guy that's just going to let whatever happen. A masculine man will literally wear the skin of somebody else who's trying to harm his family, period. A man is going to protect his family any way he sees fit, no matter what the circumstance, and the media and the powers that be in the government or whoever will be like, hey, these masculine men are the ones who are, destroying society. No, we're not. As a matter of fact, we're helping build societies. Masculine men build these freaking, these skyscrapers. Masculine men built those, not these soft soy boys that are, living in today's society right now. Do you think a soy boy is going to go up 150 stories and walk across a beam of iron? It's not going to happen. Never.
And neither is a woman. And nor should they. It's not their responsibility. Women shouldn't be in war. Women shouldn't be suffering hard construction work. That's not their role. That's ours. We're the freaking meat sacks that are expendable to make sure that the women can keep producing the human race. Okay? That's why we're leaders. Because we're ones on the front line saying we have to risk ourselves as fragile human beings of sacks of meat and organs and intelligence and go out and build society so that we can have, it's better to have 100 women and one man than it is to have 100 men and one woman. Obviously, your society will die quickly because a woman can only give birth once every 9 months. But if you have 100 women and one man, well, all those women can help recreate the population, and you will have other males that come along, and you send the males out to do the work and to protect the women so that we can keep the human race alive. This is like not complicated. It's easy math. What we have is an absolute problem of first world issues. Nobody else that's running for their lives, suffering from lack of power, clean water, infrastructure, cares about this conversation. They're not dumb. They understand what's at stake. They fully understand. The men are in charge. They're the ones that have to sacrifice themselves and go and die to protect us, to keep us healthy and safe and alive. This is a first world issue created strictly by feminists and the CIA.
Amen. Andrew, get in here. What's your take, brother?
Well, the CIA was around the 1800s, but yeah, this is definitely a long-term strategy that feminists have been implementing since at least the 1800s. They originally called it social purity movement, and they've just been moving it up slowly but surely, moving it in waves, trying to adjust the narrative to better fit their desires. And they don't even have an objective roadmap anymore. They're just doing whatever they think they can get away with.
And you are very correct on all that. But the fact of the matter is here right now, in real time, they're trying to destroy men as we see it. They have turned men into the enemy. They have turned men into very soft people. They have turned men against family. Like they don't like in today's society, people are perfectly fine without having families.
Yeah.
Because of what
psychotic.
Which is absolutely disgusting. Like the family structure itself has been destroyed by the media and the government itself. They don't want you to be married. They don't want you to have kids. They literally have these shit leftards on TV or on, the internet, whatever you want to call it, saying, hey, I'm X amount of years old. I don't have no kids. I don't have no family. I can do whatever the fuck I want. It's the girl with the big forehead, bigger than mine, actually. To be quite honest with you, she might have a dick. I don't know. Well, I just said
she
that.
Probably does.
I don't care.
She probably does.
But no, seriously. So this is the exact thing they want because they know that the family structure is a threat to their agenda. They know that the masculine man is a threat to their agenda.
A silver
they can't
bullet.
have a savage masculine man. They don't want that because it's a threat to them. But the fact of the matter is, they should feel threatened. We need to stop tiptoeing around all this stuff. The government needs to be threatened by the people. It's not the other way around. The people should not be scared of their public servants. They're public servants. And yet most people are like, well, you can't do that because they'll do this, that, or the other. No, it's the other way around. You pay taxes for them to protect your rights and borders, and they're not doing a goddamn thing. And a masculine man is going to keep them from doing that because a masculine man will do whatever is necessary to protect his and himself.
Aurora, Colorado.
Exactly.
What are we doing? What are you doing? How you let foreign invaders take over your own American soil? Sorry, not to fly the eagle America, but no. Man, at some point you have to say no. You have to, and you got to take your freaking ground back. We don't have a country if you let people that don't even speak our language run around confiscating whole apartment buildings while they, bro.
They're doing it in Chicago now, too. The Venezuelans.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to work
Chicago
there.
apartment complexes.
No.
I don't think that's going to fly for very long there.
No, Chicago, they're going to start shooting.
Yeah,
they'll start shooting.
I mean, I've already seen videos. Like they're literally asking for translators. They're like, let me tell you something. Where you're at in here in Chicago is just like your third world homeland, except we got switches. Nah, yeah, I don't think it's going to fly in Chicago. They might be the horrible criminal gangs and all that, but they're not about to let foreign invaders take over their homeland. That's not going to happen.
This is just a pressure test to see what they can get away with and how far they can push the envelope.
Excuse me, sorry. I'm still getting over the chest cold.
That's actually a really good point, Andrew. That's actually a very good point. Because
absolutely.
But that's the thing, though. Like, they're going to push the envelope and push the envelope and push the envelope until what? Until masculine men stand up and say no. That's when it's going to stop. When the toxic masculine man who's going to look out for his family and his community and themselves say no. That's when it stops.
I already put my wife on notice. Yeah, I already put my wife on notice. I told her, I don't believe our law enforcement would ever allow that down here in deep red Mississippi. They will go handle that before and snuff it out before. But if they ever did, I already put her on notice. I said, nope, I will absolutely gather 6 of my friends and we'll go take it back. Like, what? Venezuelans? Man, get out of here. I could get 6 dudes right now and we could go freaking raid that building corner to corner. And within 2 hours, we've got them wiped out. They're Venezuelans.
I'd rather have El Salvadorians. They're rougher.
Oh, they're based.
Yeah.
Let's talk about El Salvador.
El Salvador is based now.
No, El Salvador is
based now.
I can't remember the president's name offhand.
Bukele.
He's actually been absolutely based. Not only dudes, have you not been paying attention to what's going on between Venezuela and America over the past few years? The Venezuelan president literally told Joe Biden, we are not going to conform to what you're talking about, and you need to back the fuck off. We're going to use Bitcoin. Straight up.
Why would they?
Straight up. They told America to back off. We're not going to play your games.
Yeah. The only problem with the Bitcoins is they're tied down to one centralized custodial wallet that barely works, but hey, it's still telling America fuck off.
Well, I mean, a decentralized currency is a decentralized currency. And if they're running with it, then so be it. I'm more of a precious metals guy. I'm not a crypto dude. Do I have some Bitcoin? Yes, I do have some. Would I ever put my chips in? All of them? Absolutely not. Because we have cyber attacks that do happen here. And when your cyber attacks happen, you're not getting any of your crypto, period. This is why you need gold, silver, copper, whatever it may be. Like a digital currency is only so great until they shut off the internet.
I don't even do the precious metals. All of my investment is in ammo and food.
Which are great investments because those are also things that people need. People got to eat, and people are going to need ammo to protect theirs, especially when you have Venezuelan gangs coming in and taking over, apartment buildings.
Crazy to me. These guys don't even have trigger discipline, and they're just letting them run wild. Like, we could clear these buildings in 2 hours. They could have 50 Venezuelans and 4 American veterans. We could clear all those buildings in 3 hours. Like, it's psychotic. What are you doing? They have no shot.
But you got to think about where this is happening.
Speaking of soy boy.
Aurora, Colorado. Colorado is a blue state.
Yeah.
Illinois is a blue state where they have very much, gun control measures that happen. I live in Michigan.
Yeah.
Where they're working on things right now to destroy, the Second Amendment. They're working on it right now. The red flag laws are actually ridiculous, and it's happening in real time. But I'll tell you what, you guys, I dare these gangs to go fuck around in Florida. I dare these gangs to go fuck around.
I'm not going to do that.
In Alabama or Mississippi or in South Carolina or even Georgia. Please go to Georgia. Venezuela, knock yourselves out in Georgia, dude. I would love to see how that turns out for you. Make sure you stop in Atlanta, too.
Or Detroit. I dare them to come. Yeah. I dare them to come to Detroit. These Venezuelans. Please
come to Detroit. I'm telling you right now, you guys can say all the bad shit you want about Detroit, but one thing is true. This is the most armed city in the United States, number one. Number two, the Michigan militia is the biggest militia in the United States. It's not even close. Okay? So please, come here and play some fucking games. We're waiting for you. I'm telling you right now.
They're being coached. They're being coached. They're being groomed. They're being tailored. They're being sent to these areas for specific reasons because the people that are coaching and grooming them understand you can't go to those areas because you're going to get deleted. Right?
Right. But this is where we're at right now. And this is why we need masculine men. We need men that are going to say no. We need men who are willing to do what they need to do to protect their communities and their families. We need men who are willing to build things and not destroy things. We need men who are willing to make families that are going to be productive to society. And we're not seeing it right now. They've destroyed it. They've destroyed everything. 60% of marriages end up in divorce.
Yeah.
At least 60%. It used to be 50%.
That number is very skewed.
There's no focus.
It's very skewed.
How skewed is that? Is it more? Because it has to be more. It's not less.
It's way less.
It's
way less. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Most of them are multiple divorcees, and the largest demographic of divorcee block is actually lesbians. But the vast majority of that number makeup is multiple divorcees, right? It's people that get divorced 3 and 4 times.
Right.
And it just like that. Okay. So you've seen the video multiple times of Bill Gates having that stack of books on his desk saying how to lie using statistics. This is another fundamentally perverse way of discouraging people from the nuclear family and from getting married and having a family, is that those numbers aren't actually true. It's actually something way more down like to the natural mindset of when you gravitate to divorce. When you think about the divorce rate, you think about first time marriages, boom, divorce, you think that's the 50-60%. That's not true. It's much it's lower than 30%.
Really? That's the first time I've ever heard
and
that.
It might even be lower than that.
Yeah, we don't have actual numbers. Go ahead, Zach. No, go.
Oh, no. I was just going to say it might be lower than that. It might even be 15%. Who we don't really know.
Yeah,
so,
it's lower than 30%.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Andrew, what do you think, dude? Where's your head at right now?
Well, I was just thinking while I was talking earlier, you keep speaking about masculine men. Uh, if you call back a couple different times, Kyle Rittenhouse was, a form of masculine man because he was trying to apply social pressure without actually acting, right? He was an outlier because he actually was able to beat the court. But most of the time, if you actually try to apply private social pressure like that, you're going to be taken down by the cops, which is just a state version of the father. So, and then you think about a couple years ago, not Kyle Rittenhouse, but there was a couple that the husband and the wife had walked out and they got arrested because they were holding a gun on their private property, presenting it saying, "Don't mess with us."
Missouri.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Democrats. There's a Democrat attorneys. And they was just like, "Don't come on my property, rioters," and they arrested them. Yep.
Yep.
So, like, where do you go from here, though? Because, like, obviously the attack is on the man and it's, it's on the family. Where do you go from here? Because, like, they roll deep. They have the money. They have the media. They have everything. Okay.
So when you ask that, what specificity are you implying here? Are you asking it on a personal level or on a congregational level? Because there's multiple answers here, and I have them.
I'm asking it as a whole, as a congregational level, because at a certain point, men are going to have to be men. And to be quite honest with you, and this will probably get me taken off YouTube or whatever, I don't care. I really don't care.
You're not getting taken.
But, like, YouTube's already killed some of my shows. Yours is one of them, actually.
Yeah, I know.
But no, at a certain point, like, there's going to be a time where we're going to have to stand up and say no. The time is coming where good men are going to have to do bad things. The proof is in the pudding. There's no getting around this. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. It's happening. And I don't want it to get there. That's the last thing I really want to get there. But I'll tell you this. There is nothing that's going to stop me from protecting me and mine. And that should be every man's mentality right now. But it's not.
No, it's not. So there are many of us, and most of the men are, they're not doing YouTube. They're not doing internet videos. But let me ask you this. They're underground. Yep, they're silent. Big time. Am I the only veteran here?
You are the
I
only.
believe so.
Yes.
Okay, that really doesn't matter, but I am going to ask a military question. Do you know the military's response to a nuclear strike and a foreign invasion?
I don't.
I used to, but I do not. Vacate.
They have points of access where they will completely vacate the United States. They will leave and gather at ports of entry where they have already set up. They will wait for it to die down. They will let the chaos and destruction happen. This is the plan right now. In case of like a nuclear strike and a successful foreign invasion, like you're seeing in Aurora, California, Aurora, Colorado. They will wait. They will assemble and they will plan. And then they will go back into the United States and take it over. Why? Because it's easier to take over than it is to defend. So I'm not saying that that's the implication that we should be instituting here, but that's the United States military's plan, because it's a lot harder to defend territory than it is to take it over. You can let it get overrun, tell everybody, get out right now, get out, let them have it. And then you coalesce and you congregate and you formulate a plan, and then you just go back in and take it back over.
That's essentially what the Federals did during this what we call the American Civil War. They let the South succeed. They let them have the little defense war for a time while they planned, and then they started to just gradually retake over until they held the Mississippi, until they took all of Tennessee, Georgia, Mississippi, all the way up the coast, and then they joined with the Army of the Potomac in Virginia, or close to it. But they kind of
Where do you think they
surrounded the
learned it
South.
Where do you think they learned
a
it
wealth
from?
of knowledge on history. He
Oh
really
yeah.
this is why I love you so much, dude, is because you know history. You know history way better than I do. You know,
it predates the Civil War by a lot. This formulated plan predates even the Civil War. We're talking about, Scottish British Empire type stuff way back in the day where they're like, yo, look, let's let them have it. Let's save every life that we can save. Let's save every sword that we can save. And then we'll regather and go back and take it back. Yep.
Yeah, these were Napoleon's tactics.
You know,
we're still to this day still using Napoleon's tactics.
To add in,
it works.
Said
exactly
about the nuclear attacks and this, that, or the other. Did you know that the state actually has a plan implemented with the IRS to still collect taxes after a nuclear attack?
Yes.
I've seen that.
This is a fact. This is true. This is very true. This is how vile the state is. So you can go under, a nuclear attack and you can get, thrown out of your area or whatever it may be. But hey, they're still going to come after you for those taxes. They have a plan for it. This is something that most Americans don't understand. And this is something that most Americans do need to understand. Is not only that the state is the most evil thing ever implemented outside of satanic cults, honestly, because the state is a satanic cult at this point. It really is. Look at it. They're celebrating infanticide. Look at this shit. I just posted on social media the other day of a woman named Ashley Hudson, who is running for District 75 state rep in Arkansas against Michael White, my homeboy, Michael White.
That's why I know that name.
His opponent. I posted a clip of her out in the wild getting the whole crowd fired up about abortion, and they're chanting abortion out in the open. It's disgusting. It's absolutely violent. They're literally celebrating. This is why, I don't want to get all religious on you guys for a minute, but I'm going to.
I will.
These people are demonic. These people who are celebrating murdering babies. Child sacrifice is a big thing in the Church of Satan. Yes, communism is demonic. And if you don't think that there's demons walking on this earth, have a look at Arkansas, where they're literally screaming and cheering on the murdering of babies. Seriously, it's vile, it's disgusting, it's demonic. They're the only people in the entire world who are literally cheering on killing babies. Let's just throw this out there. I used to be a big time pro-choice guy. I was a big time pro-choice guy with a little caveat with rape, incest, life of the mother, stuff like that. Totally, of course, but it shouldn't be a form of birth control, which is what they're doing. Like the whole rape, incest, life of the mother thing, that's actually less than 10% of the abortions that happen.
Less than 1.
Less than 1?
Yep.
Okay.
99 point something % of abortions are for contraceptive reasons.
So we're saying that almost all abortions are over birth control. At that point, that's child sacrifice. It's demonic. There's literal demons walking this earth. There's literal demons controlling our cabinets. They're controlling our countries. You look at the WEF, the WEF, or whatever you want to call it. You look at our own government. You look at, places like, all the UN and the NATO nations that buy into this stuff. You want to know something? Let's throw a fact out there right now. Guess what countries don't have their kids chopping off their dicks? I'm going to tell you right now. Putin's not having their boys. Russia's not having their Putin.
China.
They're not chopping off boys' dicks.
North Korea.
North Korea. That's not she.
No.
She's in China. You know,
Yeah.
they're not chopping off their dicks and becoming, feminine lady boys.
Yeah.
They're not doing it
That
in North Korea either. And not to say
Mhm.
that I'm promoting what they're doing or whatever, but they're not
Right.
doing that because they
Right.
know that men need to be men to protect the civil culture of what's happening there.
Mhm.
When we were talking about the percentages on abortion for contraception, I thought Andrew had something to say.
Yeah, Andrew,
I'm
go.
Yeah, I
trying to
think
find it. There was I remember I had a bookmark. I'm really trying to find it. I'm sorry. You guys keep talking. If
Oh,
I
you're
can
good.
find it, I'll let
look
you
it
know.
up. Look
So
it
this is
up.
something. This is look it up for sure.
It's about statistics, but it's
Yeah.
really actually kind of shocking. Hold on just a second.
Mhm.
Back
It's
to-
horrible.
Here,
It's
I found
less
it. I
than
found it. I found
1%.
it.
It's
Okay, hold
yeah.
on just a second.
Well,
This
that
is
kind of
from
proves.
July 19th, 2012, about the question about abortion. And it says to ask Her Majesty's government how many abortions have been performed on the provision of the Abortion Act of 1967 in the United Kingdom, as amended by Section 37 of the Human Fertilization and Embryo Act of 1990, to the latest date available, and how many of those abortions were to save the life of the pregnant woman. The Parliament, under Secretary of State, Department of Health, Earl Howell, between 1968 and 2011, the latest year for which the figures are available, there have been 6.4 million abortions performed on residents of England and Wales. Of those, 143 or 0.006% were performed under Section 1(4), i.e., where the termination is immediately necessary to save the life of the pregnant woman. So, of 6.4 million women who had an elected abortion, only 143 of them was to save the life of the woman.
And that was in 2012.
Yeah.
That was in 2012, yeah.
It's 2024. It's 12 years later.
Yeah.
You understand. I hope everybody understands that's listening now that there is no actual medical necessary reason for this anymore. You can keep the baby alive and the mother does not have to have the baby and the mother will survive. Our advancements in science that they refuse to tell you about in this industry is astronomical. My ex-wife had a baby at 25 weeks pregnant. That child was 1 pound when she was born. My ex-wife and her spent 6 months in McDonald's ICU, in NICU, the neonatal intensive care unit. Now she spent many months, both of them. That when I get my daughter, not the one that I'm talking about here, I'm talking about my daughter, my oldest daughter from her. Her little sister rides all the time.
How old is she, by the way?
She's perfectly healthy.
How old is
She's
she? at this
7.
point?
She's 7 years old now. She was born at 25 weeks at 1 pound. She's 7. She's perfectly healthy. This is not a conversation. You're just killing babies. That's it.
Yep.
Because you're narcissistic psychopaths that don't want to take any responsibility for your actions and for the children that you bring into this world. So now you have a dead baby and you're a mother of a dead baby. Period.
They're murderers.
Let
Let's
me
be
chime
plain
in
and
on
simple.
this.
They're murderers.
Let me chime in on this because there, like I said, I was very much a pro-choice guy. I really was, outside of those caveats that I brought up. Okay. I watched something last summer, not this past summer, but last summer. I was on a job site. Actually, no, it was this spring. It was just this past spring, this year. I remember now. I'm on a job site. I'm in construction. I paint houses in real life. I'm on a new construction job. And I had gotten into it with some Gretchen Hitler people on X about infanticide.
Gretchen Hitler.
He is Gretchen Hitler.
Infanticide.
I mean,
I don't mean to correct you. Infanticide.
Infanticide. And
I
so
want you to sound smart.
I'm trying, but they're killing.
You are smart.
So they're infants. They're infants.
Yeah.
But anyways, I watched this video because some evangelicals actually sent me this video on my ex through DMs. They gave birth to this child. And then they crushed its skull. And I wept like a child on the job site. after watching that because they fucking killed that baby. They fucking murdered it. They gave birth to it and they crushed its skull. And then I watched another video that these people sent me where they ripped the child limb from inside the fucking woman.
Yep.
I am no longer pro-choice. There has to be a very huge situation for that. You can't just be killing babies because you're an irresponsible slut. Sorry, not sorry.
Amen.
Not sorry.
Not
That's
sorry
a
at
second
all.
trimester abortion. We're
Like,
not talking
seriously.
about late-term abortion. What you're describing is second-term abortion. You're talking about 20 weeks where they have to literally crush the skull of the baby in the womb and dismember it and pull it out piece by piece to protect the mom.
I saw this
That's a
with my
baby.
own eyes. I saw this with my own
human
eyes.
being.
It's a human being at that point. It's just inside the uterus.
Like,
There's
I don't want
most
to get
people
total
don't
on
see
the show. I'm getting worked up right now. Like, I can't do it.
We
But,
should get worked up.
Mhm.
Because the show is about being masculine men. You should be
you guys
worked
don't
up.
get to see
You
me
should
cry
be
on
pissed
TV.
off.
You guys just don't get to see that. But like, seriously though, I wept like a baby on a job site where men were making fun of me for crying on the job site. And I was like, do you want to see these videos? Do you want to watch them for yourself? No. Then shut
Make
the
'em.
fuck up.
Yes.
Seriously, shut the fuck up at that point because you don't know shit.
That's right.
Enough already. Like, enough.
Andrew, what were you going to say?
I was to say there's degenerates out there that are selling those aborted babies' body parts, and
We
it's
got
been going on since the 90s.
Yeah,
Bro, we got
it's
it
a
on camera.
Very lucrative.
That,
We
Oh,
have
go
too much
ahead.
access to information now to try to pull our wool over our eyes. And if the masses can't see that, they're the ones who are the problem. Because the fact of the matter is, there is so much access to information. And if you're too stupid, are too lame, are too lazy to go look it up for yourself, you have no arguments anymore. If you want to just spit fire off your CNN bullshit or your Fox News bullshit or MSN, NBC, whatever it is, ABC, I don't care. If you're just going to spit off those facts, stay out of the conversation because you don't know nothing. Go see it in real life with your own eyes. Go talk to people in real life on the streets. Go be a productive member of society and try to learn something or try to produce things as productive members of society instead of take. And when you do something that's irresponsible and you get yourself pregnant, all of a sudden you have to kill this baby.
Now, I want to make, I'm not trying to take over. Go ahead, Andrew.
There is a long-term consequence to doing stuff like that because actually the mother will develop breast cancer as a result of having an abortion.
Yep.
And emotional and psychological damage. It's just horrifyingly terrible because it's not natural. You're not supposed to delete your offspring, period. Now, I want to make 2 points. I hope you know the second one for sure. The first one, I just want to make sure that we're bringing it back to masculinity because that's what this program is about today. Men, this is your fault. It's your fault because you're lazy, undisciplined, givers of self, and you will absolutely just have zero discipline and sacrifice everything to your own sinful self fleshly desires. Stop banging random chicks. Okay, there's a basic 3-part model. There's a basic 3-part model to success. And look, I'm preaching from somebody who probably shouldn't say that, although I've been married now for 10, almost closing on 10 years to one woman, never cheated on her. We have 3 kids of our own, and then I have the 4th from the previous. Okay.
That's beautiful.
So, yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
I understand. Like in my 20s, I was the whore, but I also went out of my way to not get chicks pregnant. Right. So be disciplined. There's 3 aspects to your, to success for any male or female. Sorry. And what's his name? Ben Shapiro lays this out quite eloquently, much better than I can do. But basically, it's graduate high school, don't have sex before marriage, and don't go to jail, right? But the one we're focusing on today is don't have sex before marriage. You don't have to be religious to understand this is a good thing. No, you don't need to test ride the car before you buy it when it comes to marriage. That's not real. That's an excuse to bang people before you're committed to them and risk an unwanted pregnancy.
Or
That's
worse.
just, or worse,
Yeah.
right? Big time. Now, going back to what Shaun was just talking about. Planned Parenthood was caught in an undercover interview in California, dismembering and selling organs of aborted babies. They were caught by undercover journalists on camera doing it. Guess what happened? The journalists got prosecuted, not the people selling the human beings, but the journalists. Guess who prosecuted those people?
Democrats.
Kamala.
More specifically,
Kamala Harris.
Kamala mother effing Harris.
Yeah.
Ooh, isn't that spicy now? Isn't that spicy now? The queen of we're gonna, you know, which by the way, this is their wording is so funny. We are going to protect your reproductive rights. Ladies and gentlemen, let's talk about rights for a minute. If something takes and requires the labor of another human being, that's not a right. That's not a right at all. It's not even close to being a right. You don't get to just, you know, murder people and be like, hey, that's a right. Because if that's the case, let every murderer out of prison right now. Let them go. Seriously. You know, this is the same, you know, argument I have with a lot
Well,
of
they are. Don't encourage them to do it. They're doing it now.
But I'm just saying, like, but seriously, like, check this out, dude. Like, they're literally putting criminals on a pedestal. Okay.
Yes.
They are literally
White knighting.
saying it is okay to take another life, you know, and whether it's first term, blah, blah, blah. Like, I don't want to get
They're not even encouraging it. They're not even permitting it. They're encouraged. They want it to happen.
They want you to do that. They're celebrating it. This is what Democrats celebrate. And this is why I say they're literal demons, because nobody in their right mind is saying, hey, we just need to, you know, execute all childhood and children. There's nobody in the right mind saying that. No one in this entire world is saying that in their right mind. These are demons who are saying, hey, we need to axe these children because we can't have them. You know, kid in here. I see your wheels turning.
Did you hear about what happened to that? What that Florida doctor said? That female Florida doctor surgeon said.
I would love to hear it.
She's proud. It's gonna sound like it's a different avenue here. It's not. It's the same periscope of what we're looking at, right? She literally, like, I don't want to say for sure because it's a very vague story, but there was something about her like making a comment multiple times. She was a surgeon and she was performing transgender surgeries on minors. And she was celebrating it, and she called it yeetus deletus. She was celebrating chopping the healthy breast mammary glands off of healthy young girls. Yeetus deletus. And that's why I stole the thing that I use on social media when I call abortion a fetus deletus. I took it from her, from the doctor, from the surgeon in Florida that was proudly celebrating, I think it was Florida, cutting the healthy breasts off of, it's called mastectomies, double mastectomy.
Yes.
Cutting the healthy breasts off of young girls. She was proud. She was proud. These people are demonic, and it is communism. Because at the end of the day, the whole point of communism is to destroy any pillar of traditionalism and foundationalism that has made any country successful, because you can't have a Mao, Chairman Mao, Mao Zedong, the worst dictator, communist dictator in history that nobody was talked about. Almost 60 million people dead. They were eating their kids. Their kids starved to death. The parents were eating their children to stay alive. That's Mao's communist China. He's called it the four olds. The four olds. You cannot have any of the older traditions. So the nuclear family is the first to go. What did he do? He created red cards and made sure that the children of the family would report the parents that were disobeying the state, because you can't have a religion. The state has to be the religion. So while the Chinese, and I'm bringing it all the way back now, baby, the Chinese, the Russians, everybody that we've been talking about, when they say they won't put up with you chopping off the genitals of healthy children and celebrating the LGBTQIA plus mafia, they don't do it for the right reasons. They will execute everyone. If you're a Muslim, you're going to prison. If you're Christian, you're going to prison. There can be no substitute for the state. The state has to be the religion, and you must worship it. It's communism. It's just being repackaged. And here in this country, they need their freaking brown shirts. They need their USSR Stasi to go and do the legwork.
The FBI,
To then
CIA,
circle back around.
Antifa.
for the private police of the state, the FBI and CIA. Foreign and domestic.
I mean, the FBI is the modern day KGB. Let's be real.
Yeah.
Like the FBI is the KGB. Period.
But the Stasi, the Stasi is your local police, though. I mean, when it comes down to it, your cities, your towns. I mean, these are the ones that are going to be your order takers, that are going to make sure that you comply.
Yeah, but they don't have the
FBI.
numbers.
Yeah.
Remember, we're talking about these countries that were disarmed. They were disarmed first, and then they could send in their street thugs. And not all of their street thugs were law enforcement. Many of them were just tattletales to protect their own backs, right?
People
They
trying
were
to put
just
themselves
saying,
over.
yes, right? And they could. That's not going to be successful here, because we have more guns than people. So your local law enforcement is not trying to get shot in the face. It's going to take your online foot soldiers doing this, and then people willingly giving up their right to self-defense, which they're doing in real time. And with the biggest issue all the way back to the beginning is men not participating in education and politics and controlling in a healthy manner, not toxic masculinity, but real masculinity, leading their communities in independence and liberty, and saying, we don't need this freaking parent. I'm the dad. And I say what happens. I'm the one that's in control. And then you take it a step further and make it even more healthy. Y'all, you can hate it all you want. I'm not talking to the full 3 plus me here. I'm talking to the people that are going to be listening later. You can hate it, but the best man on the planet subjects himself to Jesus Christ, because the ultimate authority, God alone. It's not you. You are the one that God appointed to lead your family and your community, but you subject yourself to Jesus Christ, and everything from that flows healthily. Your marriage is healthy. Your children are healthy. You are healthy. But you got to start there, and it has to be the men that stand up and say, no more. And it's not going to be the ones that say, I'm saying no more, and I go storming things with weapons. It has to be very calculated, very precise, very intelligent, very led by Jesus Christ, period.
Amen.
That's how you do a promo, Andrew.
Oh,
that's
my God.
That's a promo.
No, it is a promo. And the fact of the matter is so true. It is so true. And, you know, when the communism comes through here in the United States, which is the abolition, dude, communism is the abolition of private property in a nutshell, right? So, like,
It's literally in it.
hypothetically, Noel,
Mm-hmm.
me and my wife are going to come sleep in your bed with your wife, and we're all just going to sleep in the bed together. And there's nothing you can do about it because there's no private property laws anymore. That's communism, except I would be the state and you would be the one who has to deal with it. That's what it is. That's exactly what it is. But this is why you need a man to stand up and say, if you come near my wife and myself in our bed, oh, sorry, brother, you're going to be met with some real great resistance, dude. And I'm not going to be sorry about it. I'm going to sleep really well at night about it. And another fact about it is that we need to take control of our country. Weak men have let this get to where it is today. Like, as far as everything goes, like, we're all mad about the government. We're pissed. And you should be. You should be. But at a certain point, the people themselves need to hold some responsibility on this for allowing it to happen. Right? Where was the toxic masculine man that was going to say no to what is going on? Well, they got dumbed down. They've been getting dumbed down for decades, dude. And they're saying, hey, it's okay to be a woman. Or, hey, it's okay for a man to get pregnant. A man can get pregnant all of a sudden. Or, hey, you can just marry each other or do whatever the fuck you want to do. As long as you're happy, it's great, right? Not so much. Not so much. And we're seeing it. And this is where we're at, here in 2024, is because a bunch of weak men that weren't masculine, that got beat down by society and the media and the government themselves. Think about this. Think about this real quick, not to go out in left field, but like, this has been happening for decades. Decades. Think about Rocky Horror Picture Show. A lot of people thought that movie was cute. It was great. Grooming us.
You're not wrong.
This is okay.
Like, I love that movie when I was younger.
But no, that's the thing though. And then you had shows like MASH where they were, dressing up like men were dressing up like women. It was cute.
It was normalizing.
It was on TV. Then, you had the 80s hair bands, which, oh my God, I love that music so much. It was the first music I found my own outside of my parents.
These are great points. These are fantastic points I've never thought of.
Motley Crue, all those guys, Dude Looks Like a Lady. Like, Aerosmith wrote that song, Dude Looks Like a Lady. That's about Vince Neil from Motley Crue. They wrote that song. That's a fact. That is a fact. They wrote that song about Vince Neil.
Really?
Yes. Yes. So
realness.
This has been a trickle-down effect for decades and decades. And then you had the 90s come. And this is where it gets funny. Think about the show Home Improvement with Tim the Toolman. You have him in the background. All right. He was a fix-it guy. He was a manly man or whatever, but they made him out to be a retard. They did. They really did so, on TV. He was always like, I don't think so, Tim.
Yep.
This is where the big push happened in the 90s. The big push was in the 90s. Big push.
Me and my dad were just talking about this. Now, you brought up some fantastic examples that I didn't think of. That's incredible. Yes. But what I was telling my dad the other day was if you go back to the 90s, right? Maybe late 80s, 88, 89, but really it started about 92, 93 with the sitcoms. And then what followed is this was more destructive than the sitcoms because you're talking about I'm thinking about this in real time now. You're instituting that microwave society. The sitcoms did so much detrimental damage, but the commercials did way more because there were 30-second ads that just put a thought in your brain and you moved on and you didn't think about it anymore. All of them made the dad look like this incompetent freaking moron, and the mom was the greatest thing ever. Every one of those sitcoms did that. And what was worse was the commercials that planted that 30-second. You might not even been barely paying attention, but the stupid dad that couldn't even tie his shoes with the mom that was like a Elon Musk rocket scientist. This is social engineering.
And it's been going on forever. And this is why we're
It
at
worked.
today. And then you get to, the early 2000s came through or whatever. And then, things kind of broke apart from that a lot because there's a lot of other shit going on with George W., in the war in Iraq and Afghanistan and stuff like that.
And
but then
dot-com bubble and all the
dot-com bubble, which was Clinton.
Yeah.
And then 9/11 happened. And there was a lot of discussions from all that stuff. But then you brought in Obama. And this is where things got really, really, really interesting, because that's when not only, I'm probably going to get canceled for this, whatever. Not only was everything racist,
doubtful
at that point, but all of a sudden it was okay to, be whoever, and, you could be trans and it was okay. And it was okay to, marry your whoever or whatever it may be, the whole trans LGBT, which actually let's put something in perspective real quick. There's a big difference between LGBT and LGBTQIA QRST bullshit. Because I know some super
the latter is pedophiles.
I know some super OG gay folks that happen to be my homeboys. Right? Some of them were in Vietnam. Okay. They met their mate in Vietnam while they're at war. But what they're going to say is, our fight was to just be accepted and be able to get married. And that was it. They're not cool with the trans shit. They're not cool with the trans.
Gays against groomers.
Gays against groomers. Yes. That woman.
Fantastic account.
Actually. That's the same vibe though. They did not, this was not their fight. This is not what they wanted at all. It's the last thing they wanted. They just wanted to be able to get married, and that was the end of it. That was it.
I've seen all of them regret it. I've seen almost every, I cannot tell you how many testimonies I've seen from people saying, look, I wanted the right to be married, just to be looked at as, equal in the government's eyes, stay out of my bedroom. We just want to be the same. And now they're saying, look, Heidi Brones, a phenomenal Twitter account.
Love her.
She follows me.
She's awesome.
I follow her. She's going to be on my show very soon. We were just texting freaking 2 days ago. She's awesome, right? She said, I would totally give up my freaking right to be married to my wife if it meant you stop doing the psychotic crap to the kids. That's where we're at. And look, this is what, before I make this next statement, raise your hand if you're ready to be called far right. Because you're already going to be.
Oh, dude,
you're already going to be.
Every day, dude. It doesn't
You're already going to be. It doesn't matter.
I'm a Trumper, man.
Even when I make this next statement, you're far right. We all, so I'm an avid disciple of Christ. I support your right under the government to be treated equally. Just because that's your sexual lifestyle. What? No, obviously the government shouldn't be involved. Now, will I discourage you personally because I don't think that lifestyle is healthy? Because I believe what the Bible says, and obviously I believe in the progress of the human race. Well, no, I will discourage you personally and spiritually from that lifestyle. And there have been millions of people that have said, I'm converting to Christianity. Jesus is real. I'm not going to be gay anymore. And they're going to have to deal with that. And that's a hard struggle to deal with, man. I dealt with addiction my entire life. It's super hard. I dealt with sexual addiction, just not in the homosexual way. Homophobia tried to come out of me right there. Like the literal word of homophobia tried to come out. But no, I meant the homosexual, right? Like it's no different than any other fleshly desire, except that it's even more prominent because it's sexual, which I have such a deep freaking heart for these people because I can't imagine how tough it is to grow through that and to work through that. As somebody who's converted to Christianity and you were homosexual, and now I've got countless people where they're now married to the opposite sex and they used to be homosexual. They will have to always deal with that sin because their natural proclivities drive them to that. There's something in them that's probably more of a genetic, or I'm sorry, a generational curse that needs to be broken. And they're the pioneers doing it. I have such a freaking massive heart for them. And I have a massive heart for all these people. I support your right under law to do it. Obviously, it's ridiculously stupid to oppose gay, quote unquote. I don't think the state should be involved in marriage at all. Right? That should be left down to the two people,
all of it,
and the priest. Right? The two people and the facilitator. You guys make that peace with God. I promise you won't. If you're getting gay married, you're not going to make peace with God on that. You're not. I promise. But that's up to you. I mean, what are we involving the state for?
It's because we keep letting the church outsource their responsibility to the government, and we're not pressuring the church.
Yeah.
There's Andrew. There he is, man. I love it.
But
I love
it. To go off both of your points, I mean, especially the first one, Noel, like, there are gay people out there. They are actually happily married to, say, another man, or a woman happily married to another woman, who are avid Christians. And I mean, they're just gay. And they don't go out there like lollygagging out there, fucking sucking all the way, all over the place. Like, I mean,
you can't be gay and an avid Christian.
Yeah. So
I have to push back on that.
Yeah. Oh no, I agree.
Be gay and an avid Christian.
Yeah. But they actually live that moral confine of a Christian life.
Yes.
They just happen to be gay. So
yes.
But to your point, at the same time, like, that's I mean, that's, most of them are going against God and in the desire of the flesh. So
I mean, it's in the Bible. Like, so here's the thing: God flooded the earth, right? They talk about it in Genesis, dude. God flooded the earth, and why did He flood the earth? Well, it has something to do with homosexuality. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, that was definitely if you're going to reference that part, you would go to Sodom and Gomorrah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but that's the thing. Like that's why the earth was flooded, or one of the many reasons, is because people wouldn't stop sinning, pretty much. But that was a big, huge ordeal back then. Like, there's nothing new under the sun, right? Like this whole gay thing and the whole, probably not so much the trans thing, but like the whole gay thing and people mingling outside of what they should be mingling has been since the beginning of time. And that had one of the very major points of why God flooded the earth, if you're a Bible believing person. And then He promised He would never flood it again. Kind of
He won't.
He won't.
He won't. The next one would be destroyed by fire. This is clear biblical reference. He will not flood the earth again. And there is absolute scientific and historical reference that amongst all ancient societies, that there was a great flood. Like, this isn't even, this is the part that frustrates me so much with atheists. Atheism is like the stupidest, childish religion on the planet. And atheism is a religion, because you're just worshiping yourself. Right? It's just so psychotically stupid. It just pukes in the face of all scientific data whatsoever. We know there was a great flood. However, no, God won't flood the earth again. But going back to Sodom and Gomorrah, the interesting fact is that, oh wow, I'm gapping his name now. You got to be kidding me. Lot. Thank you.
Yeah.
Lot literally offered up his virgin daughters to the terrorists in saying, don't try to sodomize homosexually the angels that were portrayed as men in his house. Please don't do that. I'll give you my virgin daughters instead. And they said no.
And God,
Satan works in mysterious ways.
How much patience did God have in that scenario? Look. You can be an atheist all you want, but just to hear the story, how much patience did He have? He went so many times down the line, X amount of people, X amount of people down to 10. If you could find me 10 righteous people, then I'll save it. And he couldn't find them. Now, that's why we haven't been brought to judgment yet, because there are many, many, many quote unquote righteous people, good hearted people in this country still, in the West still. Now, if you're going to break it down theologically, you can't be righteous unless you're clothed in the righteousness of the blood of Christ, right? No one, not what, according to Paul in Romans, no one, not one is righteous. We're all evil. We were born evil and we are evil. The only way to attain righteousness is through the forgiveness of the sacrifice that Christ made on the cross. You get that. You get that robe of righteousness from the sacrifice of the only perfect person to ever walk the planet, because he was both God and man. You get that righteousness. That is the scandal of grace, that you, as a terrible human being, me as an awful human being, gets to grab and clothe ourselves in the righteousness of Christ because of his actions and nothing that we did. Other than, what does Paul say in Romans? Read Romans, everybody. If you confess with your mouth and believe in your heart that Jesus is who he says he is and does and did what he says he did and does, then you will be saved. And you're cloaked in the right, because you can't do it yourself. You are not righteous. How? All right. I'm preaching. Okay. But it's important. I'm trying to bring it all the way back to the human nature. Okay. We're using examples of the human nature and what men need to do to bring their society back. So once again, I'm going to circle back to, you can't successfully over a long stretch of period, long term, influence anyone or lead your community, even yourself or your family, without Jesus Christ being the model in the instruction of how you're supposed to do that. And look, if you want to argue with me, that's fine. Not y'all. I mean, y'all are more than welcome to argue with me, for sure. I welcome anybody on this subject, because outside of politics, I'm actually more educated in biblical knowledge than I am politics. So come at me. Come at me, bro. I promise you. You will regret it. I will bury you. However, if we're bringing it all the way back, we're talking about the fundamental diocese of the human experience. And there is no morality without divine intelligence. It doesn't exist. Without divine design, where do you get the idea that I just shouldn't go right next door, hop my fence, kidnap my neighbor's kids, and do whatever I want? Well, because I have there's something in me that says natural. Nobody ever needs to tell me that. I just know it's wrong. I know it's wrong.
That's right.
So,
and just to add to your point, about the atheists and all the crap they try to spew out of their mouth. Most of them have diarrhea at the mouth, I swear to God. But I'll tell you what, the ark is actually sitting on top of a mountain in Turkey somewhere. How the hell did it get up there? It didn't just
water.
Ships don't just get up there on top of a mountain somewhere.
Yep.
Like, it happened. I don't know what to tell you.
And it's proven. And the Shroud of Turin has been proven. These things aren't up for debate. You can debate the deity of Jesus Christ in biblical history all you want, despite the fact that we derive almost all of our world history from biblical history, because it's the most ancient book ever written, with historical references that have been proven to the best of their ability to be true. Fine. You can just acknowledge that part and move forward. You can deny the deity of Jesus Christ and also acknowledge that these things are true, and they have been proven true. Stop with the
Mm-hmm.
mental gymnastics, because as soon as you stop, as an atheist, as soon as you stop with the ridiculously low IQ mental gymnastics of Jesus wasn't a real person, it's just ridiculously stupid. It's stupid. He's the most
Wait.
he's the most investigated person on human earth
Mhm.
ever. And he's been proven true by the people that hate him the most.
The Romans.
Stop. Just
Right.
let's have the conversation about what he said and how we can apply it to our lives, even if you don't believe he's the Son of God. Okay? I disagree. I know for a fact you're 1000% wrong, but at least we have a conversation to start from. Let's start there. Jesus Christ is a absolutely proven human being. Human history is absolutely proven biblical history. Facts. Now let's discuss from there why those things are good or bad. And then we can have the conversation about whether his deity is valid or not, because that's not really the conversation we're talking about when it comes to morality in implementing government into a society, right? Now,
Yeah.
personally, on a spiritual level, yes, you must believe. I promise you, I know for a fact Jesus rose from the dead, and we have hundreds of witnesses that saw it. That's okay. We can shelf that. Let's just have the conversation about what Jesus Christ, the proven human being that was born in Nazareth and crucified on a Roman cross at the behest of the Sanhedrin, the Jewish hierarchy, crucified him and killed him for. Okay, fine. But let's talk about the women's rights that Jesus implemented, the first historical figure ever to implement women's rights. Remember that Jesus could have been, he absolutely could have stoned, it was classified under Roman law, under Jewish law, that when he spoke to the woman at the well, she could have been killed.
He
The
was
woman
supposed to.
that
Yeah.
he was supposed to,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
The not Pharisee, but the what how am I forgetting this? I know so
It was
much
a
about this. I'm on a
yeah,
rant
it was
right now.
I believe
I
it was a
love
fair
I love
one
the
of the fair yeah, one of the Pharisees.
Samaritan. No, it was
Yeah.
the
Oh, the
Samaritan woman.
Samaritan.
The Jews looked at the Samaritans as the
Yes.
second class
Mm-hmm.
citizens, although the Samaritans literally adopted Jewish law. And
Mm-hmm.
Jesus sat at the well with a Samaritan woman and then talked to her about her sins and said, sin no more. You know,
Mm-hmm.
you're good. You're fine. We love you. You got to keep going. Believe me that
Mm-hmm.
the Abrahamic God that you trust in, we're the way, and proved to her that he was the deity. He went through several examples. Okay, there was a woman that was bleeding. I'm not going to say where from because we are where we are. But in Jewish law, this woman was dying and she was bleeding and she was crawling through the streets and she touched the hem of the garment of Jesus Christ. And according to that reference, she was healed. Now,
Mm-hmm.
forget the miracle part. According to Jewish law, she should have been murdered right then. She should
Yeah.
have been stoned to death because
Mm-hmm.
no woman, first and foremost, and secondly, no sick woman would ever be allowed. They're not allowed to touch at all or even speak in public to a Jewish
Mm-hmm.
priest. And
Mm-hmm.
she touched the hem of his garment, and what did Jesus say? Turn to her. By your faith, you will be healed. She should have been stoned to death.
Yes.
Jesus said no.
Mm-hmm.
The first major advocate for women's rights. So when we talk about liberty, when we talk about self-governance, What are we really talking about?
We're talking
Because there
about
is
Christianity.
no.
Because Jesus Christ was the OG anarchist / agorist, straight up. A lot of Christians will get angry when I say that, but I have so many points to prove this. Jesus Christ was the originator of don't hurt people, don't take their stuff, don't violate private property, do good deeds, take care of your community, be good to women, be good to children, do not hurt, don't kill, don't steal, don't do all these things, which is very much an anarchist, agorist standpoint. A lot of Christians don't like it when I say that, but it's a fact. Jesus Christ was the OG anarchist, agorist.
Well, there's a one scripture that they try to construct into
It's
their
in
own
Romans.
belief system
Yeah.
that they don't want to hear, right? And it's what Jesus said, and it's in all four of the Gospels, right? Now, Romans, as Zach said, kind of re-implements that, but the original text that people like to take out of context and use it for their own advantage is exactly what you're saying, and it says. When I think it's in Matthew, because Matthew was a tax collector.
Talking about Romans 13, where it says that you're supposed to.
Yes.
No, not talking about Romans 13.
Okay.
Don't get me started on Romans 13. No,
that's the only reason why I brought up Romans. Yeah, Romans 13 is what most Christians
don't get me
end up bringing up.
It's completely out of context for our system. Romans 13 specifically addresses a form of governance that our Constitution demolishes, and to my opinion is for very specific reason. Our Constitution, our secession from England says consent of the governed. Don't like it? Change it. You have the power. There was no other government that did that before. So these scriptures were written before that. So it says submit to your government, blah, 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 blah. Your governing authority. So what does the Constitution and the Declaration of Independence say? The governing authority is we, the freaking people, not the public servants elected. No, we're in charge. Period. That gave us a scapegoat out of Romans 13, which is why I believe that's divine.
Well, Romans 13 also says that you're supposed to honor the government, and there's a second part of that, that people kind of leave out or whatever, and that is if they are abiding by the laws of the land. That's the second part of Romans 13. You're supposed to honor the government as if they're abiding to the laws of the land. Well, I don't know what to tell y'all, but what's going on today in modern America and modern world and modern dystopia is not that. They are not abiding by the laws of the land at all. Because if they were, we wouldn't be in 19,000 different wars. There wouldn't be all this, nonsense that the state does on every single level.
A simple correction. It's not about laws of the land. It's laws of
God.
Christian. Yeah. If it violates the laws of God, which is why the Apostle Paul, the most noted and guy, was a genius of his time. Most people don't know this. Like, sincerely, go back and read all of Paul's epistles. Right? So, like, everything that Paul wrote was a letter to a church. We try to think of these things as biblical, one giant log of bibliography. It's not. Paul, a literal brilliant genius, was writing these letters to specific quote unquote churches. Remember, we don't know what that means, or people neglect what that means. When we talk about churches in that time, in the antiquity of Christian church, the birth time of the Christian church, they're letters. They're not stories. This is a man writing letters saying, you're freaking retarded. Stop doing that. Here's what you should do. So stop being stupid. Right? That's the epitome of Paul's epistles. Okay. So now going back, I want to make this point and then I'm going to shut up because I feel like I'm taking over the whole thing. But it's important, right? So Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John are the Gospels. When some people consider Acts written by, remember, Luke is a doctor. He was a brilliant human being. So was Paul. But when you look at these epistles, the Gospels, Jesus never says, oh, and I lost it. What were you saying?
Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, the epistles.
No, it was something that you said.
Oh,
No, it was something that Shaun said.
yeah.
Well, I mean, I kind of brought up
according
the
to
fact
the
that
gospel
in Romans 13, where they said you need to honor their government.
No, it was before that. It was before that. I went on a rant. You're gonna have to edit all this. My bad. I lost it. I lost it.
It happens to the best of us. But we're working on 2 hours anyways, so we should wrap this up. Because people lose interest. I know how this goes. But I'm going to ask each and every
edit all of me out. Let these guys talk.
No. Let's check this out. And I'm going to start
we can't get rid of the best promo though, man.
I can't help it, man. I'm sorry. I'm
passionate. No, don't be. I love this. I love
it too.
Buds in Reality is reality. It's real. It's raw. It's honest. It's unmerciful. People are going to be upset when they see it. I love pissing off shit libs. So we're going to run this. I just do. I love it. Don't choke.
Or Samuel 2030.
Joe Biden, where are you?
He's taking a nap.
Oh, right.
Yeah. But no, seriously, Andrew, as men, how do we take over and fix this from here? As men, I want to know what you said.
Well, we got to cut back the gluttony that we're giving, the general society. You have to have consequences. Without consequences, there's no obligations.
Which is how the government works. So I'm glad you kind of pointed that out. You know what I mean? If we acted like they did, we'd all be, hooked and booked, and that would be it. That's the end of it.
Yep, we'd all be in prison.
Zach Attack. How do men grab the bull by the horns and make this right? How do we do this?
I had something better on my mind, but actually no, I just remembered it.
No, go for it. Bring it up.
You control. You try to control your emotions. You want to let your emotions out. You don't want to hold them on your sleeve, but you try to control them and facet them to be molded in when to use those emotions. When should you act this way? How should you act now or then or wherever or whomever you're with? So if you're with your wife or your girlfriend, you're going to be this way. If you have a disagreement, you're going to be this way rather than this way. You're not going to be angry, but you're going to be angry, but you're not going to show that anger. You're going to understand how to control your emotions in love, in anger, and in sadness, in everything. So it comes down to literally controlling your emotions. And how do we do that? It goes back to Christ, in my opinion. So
discipline.
I love that.
Discipline.
Well, how are men going to fix this and grab the bull by the horns and do what we need to do?
Who you talking to?
Huh?
I was asking who you specifically talking to.
Noel.
Yeah, he was talking to me. Unfortunately, because I feel like I've controlled all of this and ran the whole thing. I'm sorry, y'all. I love this stuff. I live for it because I think that this is the way that we take back every aspect of our community. It does absolutely rely on us as men and fathers. There's no easy answer, honestly, but the answer that doesn't involve any sort of nuances: man up. Take responsibility. Take responsibility for your actions. Be disciplined. Stop being self-indulged, fleshly meat sacks. Be a man. It's not really more complicated than that. It is stop it. Be a man. Control yourself. Control your fleshly desires. Adopt what has worked in the past. Right? Now, I've laid out a lot of bibliography, and to me, that is the answer. Right? But if you're somebody that is not a biblical person, the concept remains the same. Be a man. Stand up. Say no. Stop giving in to the cultural divides. Stop giving in to the cultural influences. Stop giving in to the internet that is going to show you or pretend to show you that making your kids trans is going to get you viral on the internet. Like, right?
Yeah.
This is an issue. But the underlying issue is have a moral stance, have principles, have a goal, set your life up to where you can make sure that everyone around you inside your circle of influence has a productive path forward into advancing their own community, their own circle of influence. You're never going to do that by pushing progressive leftist ideas. You're just destroying everything. The more you try to advocate for transing the kids or making them gay or sorry, not having kids, that it's just not. It's not going to work. It's just not. You're fighting against the very thing that our biological DNA structured situation has advanced human society thus far. There's nothing wrong. And beyond that, it's absolutely incredible to promote the construct of the system that made us wealthy while also advocating for we don't need to be a right-wing dictatorship. Right? You can literally, like we've talked about on this episode, say it's a healthy and very good thing to promote traditionalism, conservatism, and the idea that we should conserve the family values. The man taking responsibility of the children that he has. The woman not the elitist fetus their offspring. That's psychotic. We didn't have to have laws 100 years ago for this, or not many, because everybody knew. That's crazy. You don't delete your own offspring. Why? Well, because men were the center of the family, right? Now,
And they were willing to take
beat
care
the
of
head?
those offspring.
Yes.
Thing
And
is,
did they
men were
beat the
willing-
crap? Did a lot of them beat the crap out of their own family? Sure. So let's not do that part. This what we're doing is psychotic. They're trying to take the minutia of the bad that happened through the conservatism and traditionalism and libertarianism that made us great and ruin the rest of it. Don't do that. Be a man. Don't have sex out of marriage. Take care of your kids. Treat your wife the same way that Jesus Christ treats the church, in that he would give his life, and he did give his life up for us. Do those things. Right? So if you just stick to biblical tradition, you don't even have to worry about like true adherence and obedience to the biblical tradition. You don't have to worry about men beating their wives and creating this fairy tale handsmaid tale type of society. You don't have to worry about that.
That's right.
Be a man.
That's right.
Obey God. Subject yourself to the rulings and teachings and love and compassion of your Creator, who tells you to protect your women and children inside, outside of the womb. Do that, we're fine.
Amen to that. And for me to add in, I'm going to say this, men, hear me out. First thing, number one, follow Jesus Christ. You follow Jesus Christ, you'll have your answers no matter what. Another thing, honor your families, take care of your families, be a part of a community, get involved with your community, make things better, make things more, desirable for people to be a part of a community or even a political standpoint. Like, we need men who are going to stand up and get in the local offices and tell the state, we are not going to comply to this nonsense anymore. We need men to do that. We also need men to also be men, eat real food, train, work out, learn firearms, learn how to take them apart, learn how to put them together, learn how to shoot them. And I don't mean that to be violent. I don't want anybody to be violent ever. But as men, we need to be the fuck around and find out type people. Okay?
Learn a crossbow.
As men, we need to make sure our communities are flourishing. As men, we need to make sure that people like the state aren't coming in and getting involved in our kids' schools, in our households, in our families, in our everyday lives. Get them out of your pocket, get them out of your bedroom, get them out of your house, get them out of your doctor's office. As a man, you should be the one pushing these people away, not inviting them in. As a man, you need to be loving and nurturing. You need to hold doors open for ladies. You need to watch your tongue in front of ladies. I'm the king of fuck shit, all the shit, right? I have a bad mouth. You look at the flag behind me. Okay? I'm not the perfect model Christian, but I want to see more Christianity involved in our everyday lives. And I know that's going to turn a lot of people off because the media and the government have bastardized Christianity and saying the Christian nationalists have, done this, that, or the other. No, they haven't. And actually, well, you know what? Christian nationalists are not my favorite people in the world. So there might be something to that. I need to walk that back a little bit.
Define Christian nationalists. No, we're going good, bro. Go ahead. Go.
Well, no, because they're the ones who are turning off people from Christianity.
No, I mean, define Christian nationalists.
Well, I mean, the Christian nationalists are the ones that portraying the, take my ideas or else. Those are the Christian nationalists. You see
the groypers.
There's real
Of
Christians.
course, Zach came in with that.
What's that?
I'm as I
The
said, of
groypers.
course.
Yeah. What people perceive as the groypers.
Well,
the
because
groyper
actual
little
Christians,
internet thing.
Christians are not trying to force feed anyone, but they'll have a conversation with someone.
No, but I want to know, but it's not from you. I'm specifically asking for the audience. Define Christian nationalism.
Well, it's what the TV told them to. Christian nationalism is a TV media term that has been brought to fruition. We all know that. But to make it simpler for people, out there, like, I'm not for Christian nationalism. I'm for Christianity itself. It shouldn't be force-fed. It should be something that is taught and educated. It's not something like you do this or you're just going to burn in hell, whether that's true or not, whatever. But like, I'm not going to beat you over the head and be like, hey, if you're not going to do what you're told, you're just a bad person.
I feel like Andrew has a very good point to make.
Well, I just think back to like I was talking about earlier, 1800s, men would walk into a room and they wouldn't sit down until the woman would say, "You have my permission to sit down." There was a deep level of respect for one another, and there's absolutely nothing like that nowadays.
But there's
We
a
need to
big
try to
level of
return.
respect in Christianity that people refuse to look at because the government and the media have bastardized it so much.
Well, the church is out, like I said before, the church has outsourced a lot of their responsibility and obligations to the populace, to the government.
Keep
And
going.
that's
Keep
Where
going.
Christian nationalism comes
No,
from.
no, you have a lot to say, Andrew. Go.
Come on,
Go.
come on,
Go.
bring it.
I'm
I
just
just-
saying, if you really want, you had to be at the roots of the situation. You can't stand from the abstract and try to play, point out an issue. You actually have to be actively involved day out.
In 2024, let me ask it a different way, because this is going to make way more
Where the
sense.
hell is this on our pod?
In 2024, the portrayal of what Christian nationalism is, what is your definition?
My definition, I think it's a psyop by the FBI.
CIA.
Yes.
I mean,
Yes!
CIA. We can fight later, but yeah, CIA.
Yeah.
You say FBI,
It
I
comes
say
from the
CIA.
three-letter acronyms, no matter what. Just like everything else,
They're the
all
same.
the shit you see on TV,
It's all the same.
all the shit you see
Yeah.
on the internet, it's all, they have a big relevance in social media. But yeah, Christian nationalism comes from that. It comes from whatever they're saying on TV. That's where it comes from. But to dumb it down for some people, I will say, hey, the Christian nationalists aren't necessarily right on the way they're pushing. Because
what I'm trying to get to is what is the difference between the media portrayal of Christian nationalism versus the reality of the definitive Christian nationalism, right? Because the portrayal
of free will. Easy answer is free will.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but go deeper.
Well, because
what is the media trying to say?
Well, the media is trying to say that, the Christians are trying to force their ideals on everybody. That's exactly what they're trying to say. They're forcing the ideals of Christianity on the masses.
As opposed to proselytizing.
Yes.
The Christian nationals don't actually want to impose their ideas. They just want to recruit people to their ideas.
And then they want to separate. They literally want to divorce and have their own little niche outside of whatever our dystopian, statist, satanic, atheist governments of the world want to promote, which is just chaos and destruction, which is what Satan wants. So they just want to divorce and then set up their own little niche. Try to recruit
big time agorism,
people.
like churches themselves are big time agorisms. Like they don't want anything to do with the state. The church, separation of church and state. I say one up to that. Separation of state and everything. The state should not be involved in anything. The state needs to know their place and shut the fuck up. That's what the state needs to do. They need to get out of our lives completely. As a radical anarchist, I don't want to see any government at all. But as a realistic person, I would be okay with the abolition of the federal government and letting the states run as they see fit. You can have your blue states, you can have your red states, whatever. If you don't like what's going on, move the hell out of there. It's that simple. Pack your shit and go. If you want to go kill all your babies and you're in a red state, move to a blue state. It's that simple. It's the easiest way to keep things fair within society. Really, if you want to talk about fairness and equality, shit like that, that's how you do it. Let the states run as they see fit.
But stay the fucking Californians when you realize you fucked shit up.
Leave California.
Burn it all. Seriously. California, my state, Michigan, New York, Illinois, they've become dystopian nightmares. I could do a 10-hour show about what's happening here in Michigan. I just don't want to because I'll get way too worked up and probably end up in jail. I can't do it. I can't.
Well, you got to get
in the
out of
UK.
that state.
You'll end up in jail in the UK.
They can come on. Come on, UK. I've been waiting for you guys for a while. Anytime
They
now.
ain't coming.
They ain't coming.
the
UK
They
is
got
not
no
coming.
chance. And as a matter of fact,
No.
because I am a masculine man, please come to my house and find out how serious I am. Because I am a masculine man. That's how every masculine man should be. Come play with my family and see what happens. That's
correct.
Leave me alone. We're going to be very peaceful. This is
correct.
Like a lot of us, we're not asking for much. Stop stealing our money and leave us alone. Seriously, that's all we are literally asking for. Stop killing brown children on the other side of the pond in the name of God, for crying out loud. I just made a post, earlier this week. It was inspired by, System of a Down, where they opened the song with "Praise the Lord, pass the ammunition. God wants you to go to war." That's how they sell it to you every single time. That's how they sold it to you in 9/11. And that's how they're going to sell World War III, which is going on, which is going to happen in Israel. That's how they're going to sell it. Is it's going to be this holy alliance, holy war. Don't buy it. God don't want you to kill people. God wants you to protect yourself, yes. But outside of that, he don't want you hurting people. That's why this
I'm going to push back on that, because yes, it is a holy war. But those things are mutually exclusive, right? It doesn't mean that God wants you to kill people, especially innocent people. But it is a holy war. The historical, biblical references are all there. Christianity, Judaism, and Islam all share the same first 5 books of the Bible, right? So it is a holy war, but that does not mean that God condones you to be killing innocent people.
No,
so we got to make those distinctions.
That's my big argument with the whole, because a lot of Christians are like, we got to protect Israel. We got to protect Israel. We got to protect Israel.
They can protect themselves. They're big girls. They have the second most advanced technological military on the planet.
Thanks to all the money and weapons they've already gotten.
Thanks to us. Yeah. Thanks to us.
Thanks
they
to
are
us.
That.
So then.
They are that.
But
they don't need us anymore.
Now, Jesus Christ does not want Israel just committing genocide. He does not want you killing innocent civilians. I'm telling you that right now. That's the last thing.
Of course. I completely agree.
That's the last thing he wants, which is what Netanyahu is doing right now, which is my big argument with Christians.
It's not genocide. But what Bibi Netanyahu and the Israel IDF is doing is not genocide. By definition, it's not.
By definition of the United Nations, yeah.
No, by definition of the word genocide.
Tens of thousands
not doing that.
Children and people are dying in Gaza.
I mean, what source are you getting that from? I'm not saying you're wrong, but if we're gonna equate it to genocide, it would have been over in 4 hours. Every freaking Gazan, every Palestinian.
Well, I mean, my source
is
of all time, and that's Scott Horton.
Yeah, what it is
but
you could say it's ethnic cleansing, because they're trying to push them out of certain areas in order to claim it for a particular reason.
They're trying to drill oil.
So
this is the whole thing.
It's oil and gas.
Israel.
Yeah.
Now the ethnic and I don't even really agree with the ethnic cleansing part, but it's a much more accurate description. Yeah. But genocide is completely wrong, because if they wanted to genocide the Palestinians, they'd have done it in 4 hours on October. What was it?
They tried to do it in 2014. Israel launched the ground attack. Israel launched the ground attack in 2014. And had to pull out.
Why did they launch a ground attack? They could have just airstruck the whole area, and everybody would be dead in 4 hours. It's Israel. They have the same type of military we do. It's not genocide. It's completely ridiculous to call it genocide.
It's strategic.
It's strategic.
Political manipulation.
All of that,
yeah.
all applicable. Genocide is completely off the table
They're
because
killing
genocide
Genocide,
means the
boys.
eradication
Yeah.
of everyone.
Genocide is what's going on in what's been going on in Yemen. Genocide's what's been going on in Sudan, Eritrea, all over Africa. People just being murdered, like just indiscriminately based on their tribe, their race, their ethnicity, just to
It's
erase
totally
them from the
wiped out.
map. Yeah.
Yeah,
What
it's
and
not.
I've fallen into this trap too, but they're not trying to eliminate Gaza. They're trying to neutralize Gaza to make them
They're trying to
compliant.
control.
Yeah, so they can control
They
them.
can't destroy Gaza because that's where they want to
Yes, they
drill the
can.
oil.
Yeah.
No,
But so
because
then it's
that's
not
where they want to drill
genocide.
the oil.
Yeah.
But if they wanted
Mhm.
to, they could just easily implement their own government, annihilate 100% of the population within the next
Yeah.
30 minutes, and then
Mhm.
go control the oil.
But
It's
they
not
couldn't do it in
genocide.
2014. They couldn't do it because they had
They never
underground.
tried to.
They went in there on a ground attack and lost. Israel
This-
went in on a ground attack in Gaza against the Palestinians in 2014 and had to pull back
Oh,
because
yeah.
of the people that were underground. Yes.
Mhm.
Do,
Oh, yeah.
do you honestly think that the Israeli Defense Department would lose a ground war if they didn't want to in Palestine? Not a chance.
Well, then why
They
didn't
could-
they
they
capitalize then?
Why did they choose a ground war? If they wanted to genocide them, they could carpet bomb and glass the whole country in 4 hours.
Because
then
then they would
everybody's
kill their own
dead.
people. They would kill
Who
their own
cares?
people.
That's what genocide means.
Mhm.
It doesn't matter who's dead. It's wipe out everybody in the territory, regardless of anything and everything, and then go take over the territory. They don't do that, and they're not going to do that because it's not a genocide. It's a strategic door-to-door operation. Now, I'm not calling it not evil,
Mhm.
right? I'm not defending Israeli's government here.
No,
I'm
yeah.
defending etymological definition. I'm defending the language. It is by definition not genocide. It is
But
a
it is
strategic
yeah.
takeover. Whether
Yeah.
you going to call it evil or not, I do. Do I call the defense of October 7th evil? No, of course. You have to go do that. Hamas
Mm.
is horribly evil. They're more evil than the Israeli government. Sure.
Yeah, but okay, so riddle me this. Oh my God, we're gonna go way long.
Who
Dude.
cares? Let's go.
Dude, okay, so riddle me this then. Israel's the one who propped up Hamas and funded them and got them started.
Yes, they did.
Yeah.
And then Israel also turned around and killed their leader.
Yep.
Still not genocide.
No. But so let's walk this back. So,
But the whole thing is predicated upon the definition of genocide. Not just this conversation, but the entire conversation around Israel is and Hamas and Palestine is predicated on the definition. Nobody other than me, apparently, and outside of y'all here, us wants to ever have the conversation about what is or isn't genocide. It's not genocide by definition, even though Bibi Netanyahu and the Israeli government, which has been apparently proven to have propped up Hamas for years, to have an enemy to be supported by its Western allies to fund them via ammunition, weaponry and funding. Regardless, all that's probably multiple things can be true at once, but the one thing that can't be true is that Israel is not committing genocide. That is fundamentally false.
then I don't know what bombing hospitals and shit is then. Like I
not genocide. It's evil.
It is evil. But like you're killing, like war is war.
Shooting
war is
fish in a
nasty.
barrel.
But like
Shooting fish in a barrel is really good.
Israel started Hamas. They propped him up. They got him going.
They didn't start
Killed their
Hamas.
leader.
Iran started Hamas.
But they propped him up and gave him money. So what's the difference?
Yes.
There's
a difference between starting something.
And just for the sake of doing it, because that's what they do. And then, now here's where I, get a little bit conflicted, because obviously Hamas had a reason to be upset when their leader was killed, correct? I'm not sticking up for terrorist organizations or resistance groups, whatever.
Hope not.
No, I'm really not.
Terrorist organization.
No, but no, here's the thing.
From the river to the sea, they want every Jew dead.
Yeah.
They're the ones advocating for genocide. From the river to the sea.
Oh.
From the Hamas group, the Iranian terrorists funded and backed Hezbollah, Hamas. There are genocidal terrorist groups. They just don't have the funds to do it.
Well, they don't have the funds. They don't have the weapons.
Israel does.
Quick question.
Israel doesn't do it.
Quick question. Yes.
Quick question though. From the river to the sea though, doesn't that actually have an etymology that goes back to the 1920s Jewish or maybe the 1940s actually Jewish revolution? Yeah.
It's way further than that. It goes back to the Bible.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. Like, this is biblical. These people.
I mean,
it's all biblical. It's a holy war.
Everything that's happening in the Middle East. Everything that's happening in the Middle East has been happening in the beginning of time. They talk about Babylon and Persia.
Since Abraham. 500 years after the recorded resurrection of Jesus Christ, Islam was established via Muhammad, who describes the same God that Muhammad prophets is the same God that Judaism, Christianity, and Islam all profess. They just call it Allah. We call him Yahweh, right? Judaism calls him Yahweh. Yeah, Islam, Christianity, and Judaism, all share the same first 5 books of the Bible.
Abraham.
Islam literally subscribes to Jesus Christ being the second greatest prophet in history. Believes that Jesus Christ was killed and resurrected from the dead and ascended to heaven. Just doesn't believe that he is the Son of God. This goes back a long, long way. And there is no answer to a holy war in which they believe when they started studying Muhammad, started studying the first 5 books of the Bible, going back to Abraham and having his affair with his slave, and that firstborn son named Ishmael versus Abraham's firstborn son that God promised himself to be Isaac when he brought Isaac up to the mountain, right? To sacrifice. God told Abraham to sacrifice him. That's who we're talking about. And God supplied the go. Well, Abraham had sex to get kids because him and his wife Sarah were barren, and God had promised him the descendants of the stars, and he did not wait on God. He had sex with the slave and produced the first child, Ishmael. That's where you get Islam. It's called birth.
I believe Sarah actually presented Hagar to Abraham so that he could have a son. So,
yep. So,
speaking of women, the wife submitting to their husband. So,
yep. Yeah. It was all disobedience to God's word. They didn't trust in God, and what happened from that disobedience from Abraham and Sarah is the result of thousands of years of turmoil in the Middle East. Think about that. Not to put the pressure on any of us disobeying God, because we all do, right? But think about that. The disobedience of Abraham and Sarah resulted in thousands of years of murderous conflict in the Middle East over confusion over the birthright of what the promised land is. Now, 500 years after Jesus' resurrection, Islam was created. That's 500 years of studying the first. These are people that got converted, right? So now what we're dealing with is you've got a terrorist organization that overrules a bunch of people that have no say whatsoever. I mean, they can vote for these people all they want. Look, are we really believing that they voted?
There's no democracy there.
There's no democracy there. They will just shoot you if you disagree. They throw gays off the rooftops. Let's be real. Okay.
It's hilarious.
Now, if they're
American gays be like, gays for Palestine. I'm like, yeah.
Yeah.
Your head off.
Why don't you go
They
over
will
there?
literally go there and hang out. They'll literally chop your head
psychotic.
off.
Yeah, psychotic. And so this is the result of what we're dealing with here. It's not easy. It's horribly complicated.
It is horribly
and there
complicated.
is no fix to it. But going back to the original conversation, no, Israel is not under any definition committing genocide. Again, I can't beat this dead horse enough. If Israel wanted to commit genocide against the Palestinians, it would have been done on October 8th. And by October 9th, there would be no Palestinians left, and Israel would absolutely have complete control over Gaza, and this would all be over. I'm not advocating.
They probably turn over the West Bank.
But
by October 9th, they just go to the West Bank. They complete that mission. By October 10th, they just have complete control.
It's done.
But the whole thing is bullshit.
The
whole thing is bullshit. Because you're telling me, we go through the facts where like Israel props up Hamas, they fund them, blah, blah, blah. They kill the leader. Hamas is angry. They come in and do the thing on October 7th. But like October 7th is a huge red flag for me, because ain't no way in hell is a resistance group with guns getting across Israeli borders. Israel's not America. They're not just letting people come across. You will die if you try to come in Israeli borders, straight up.
So false flag.
Yeah, it's definitely a false flag, because
not arguing.
Because
maybe not.
There's no fucking way in a million years you're not going to sell it to me that a group of guerrilla militants got across Israeli borders to do what they did. You're not going to sell it to me. I'm sorry.
They didn't act. I'm playing devil's advocate at this point, because I fundamentally actually agree with what you're saying here. But let's just say, for instance,
but let's
remember that America doesn't have any combative militants on our borders, right? Now, let's just say that Canada or Mexico wanted to do that. They could probably be successful because they were flown in. They literally, you got video of them raining down.
How are you not going to see that or anything coming? Like their intelligence, the Mossad, is ridiculous. Like they know what's happening at every given point, at any given moment. Just like
they knew that.
And this is why I'm going to put this out there, and people are going to be mad, and I don't care. The people who perpetrated October 7th are the same people who did 9/11. Say what you want.
The Saudis?
CIA and the Mossad. They did it.
The Saudis? And Pakistan? And the CIA?
The CIA and the Mossad. They brought it all together.
Well,
dude.
of course. Yeah.
They brought it all together. There's no more powerful agencies, more
Saddam Hussein?
More bigger than Saddam. We went to Iraq because they wanted to sell oil in the Iraqi dinar. It had nothing to do with weapons of mass destruction.
Oh, of course.
Why we went there.
Logical deduction says you're right? But we're never going to know.
We're never going to know. But we know. There's too much access to information. There's too many videos. There's too much. This is the thing that they fucked up on, is by giving us the internet, because we have so much access to information now. There's too many receipts. There's too many.
That's why they're filtering it now.
They're trying to, at least.
Just had this conversation with somebody in real time, and she was the one, black woman. She was the one that brought it up. So they made a mistake by creating the internet.
I
said, yeah.
They really did.
They thought they had something there.
But like,
they fundamentally think we're stupid. They think we're stupid.
They do think we're stupid. But we got to understand the fact that pretty much every war that's been perpetrated in our entire lifespan. I'm 44 years old. You're you're a couple years younger than me, I think, Noel. You guys are much
41.
younger than me. But you guys have seen it firsthand. We've all seen it. They create the problems to create the solution, or to, and at the end of the day, it's all central banking. They need to prop up their banks to print more money. It doesn't stop. You think the government's running anything? They don't run a fucking thing. Nothing. It is the central banks. It is the IMF, World Bank. It's BlackRock, Vanguard, the Federal Reserve. It's all of them. And they are running it, and they are doing it flawlessly. And they do this. They prop up wars so they can open up central banks in these countries to get them rebuilt and offer them money at an astronomical rate of interest, knowing that they're never going to pay them back, and then turn around and fuck them up again. This is the name of the game. It does not stop. It is a non-stop disco.
I cannot agree with you more that this is all central banking issues. You can look out through the history of the world. The central banking leads to forever wars and leads to sexual proclivities that just destroy your society. However, I want to make this one point. I'm watching Andrew in the bottom left of my screen diligently research stuff, or at least that's what I think. And I want to know what this guy has to say, because
bring it up, Andrew. Come on.
Well, I was just
and he's just like doom scrolling right now.
Bring it. Bring us the doom scroll.
Well, I was
He's
just
the
thinking,
king of the black pill,
right? Yeah. The term you're looking for is Hegelian dialect, and the other thing is you're talking about revenue streams. Revenue streams is it's the more wars they create, the more destruction that they cause, the more the countries that they destroy have to pay back, and they have less population, so that means that they make their return is stronger because they don't have to spend.
Go to the first
pay
part.
It out. The Hegelian dialect.
Yep.
They basically is what they have a very narrow point that they want to people to concentrate on. So they'll create a problem, like Bud said, and then they'll create a solution, and they'll force the two together.
So don't we call that the Cloward and Piven?
Yeah, I suppose so.
And to Frogger that segment, to leapfrog that, and to add to a point that you brought up earlier about Bush and all the financial shenanigans that went on before jumping straight to Obama. The central bank, the financial woes, the bubble bursts, all of this is coordinated in design with forever wars, one being wars within society, the culture war. What comes after 2008 financial crisis? You have Obama's you have the cultural and identity politics war that rages through our society, while all the other shenanigans is going on and all the other military operations continue. So you have the wars of distraction. So, and it's all financial.
It's a contraction mechanism.
He who controls the monetary system controls the world. He who controls the media controls the mind.
Don't get me on a promo on that one.
I just gotta say, like, we talked about this earlier, but I'm gonna just absolutely triple, quadruple down on this, man. Andrew, if you ain't the Jamie of our shows, we've failed as a community. This is incredible. I want this guy on every episode just Googling stuff and this man knows right where to go. You have to be the Jamie of Joe Rogan's, of us simpletons. You have to be, man. Incredible. And I'm literally watching Shaun speak, watching everyone speak. I'm looking at Andrew's face and going, this cat is finding something substantial. And I want to know what's going on here, because I'm just sitting here smoking cigarettes, talking my mouth off, watching this guy go full on freaking conspiracy, I've got the tabs on hand. Literally, dude, had a tab on hand early. Just give me a second. I'm looking for it. I got the tab right here. Oh my goodness, Andrew, you're hired.
Dude, you need to start wearing a tinfoil hat on all
Oh,
the shows at this point. Seriously.
Only if you guys sign it. I'll send it to you in the mail.
You will get signed, brother. We will sign for you, dude. This is you guys, thank you so much for this conversation.
you're,
This is probably
you're
one of the
stealing my
most
producer.
scatterbrained shows you'll probably ever watch, but it's got a lot of good information in it.
It
So
was awesome.
but dudes, please plug your stuff. I'm not a selfish guy. I want you to plug your shows. So please, Zach Attack, go first.
If you want to see more of Andrew, try to get, he's talking from here on out. I'm making you talk now. Yeah. But if you want to see more of me and Andrew on our podcast, The Legacy Right, check us out on YouTube, everywhere else that you like to listen to your podcast, Spotify, Apple, you name it, Amazon, you name it. And that's about it. Oh, and I gotta plug out the World Blockchain Roundtable every Thursday at 11 a.m. Eastern. Me and Andrew are off. We've been on there a lot recently, but don't just watch because of us. We're not always there, but it's very interesting. All about the blockchain, crypto, history, politics, current events. So, Blockchain Roundtable at 11 a.m. every Thursday, weekly. And just check out the Legacy Right. So on all your podcast platforms.
What about your Twitter?
What was that?
I was asking Zach about his social media platforms.
Yeah. At legacy_ZAK. You can find me on Twitter, X, formerly known as Twitter, whatever you want to call it. You can also find the Legacy Right on Instagram, just at the Legacy Right, if you want to give us a follow there. I haven't been posting recently. I'm about ready to hand it over to Andrew and be like, just meme. Just meme. But he don't want it. He don't want it.
Yeah.
Plug it, brother. Give us the plug, man.
Yeah, well, I was running the Telegram page, but since, it seems like it's starting to get compromised, I don't know. I'm looking for an alternative platform. But you can hit me up on X at AIConan90, just like it says right there on the screen. So there's no space.
Plug the Telegram though.
Well,
it's still
Otaku Sauce. It's like I said, I'm just looking for. I'm still burnt out on social media. It's not even funny. I just thought that would be, like, just something small to do in between episodes. So,
which makes him the perfect producer.
Noel, plug it. Plug all your things, man.
Well, first of all, I just want to say thank you so much, all of you, for having me. I know I've run my mouth way too much. I'm sorry.
That's why
I try not to take stuff over, but it's just it's who I am. Like, I've got strong freaking opinions and a lot of education to back it up. So I feel like I overtalk everyone, but it's been absolutely freaking incredible. You can follow me on X, which is my main platform, because it's free speech, y'all. I mean, that's just the point of it. I've got to be able to speak my mind. And so I stream to X. X is my main platform. It's at the Cajun Libert 1. Just replace the Y of Liberty with the number 1. Yes, I screwed it up. But everywhere else is the Cajun Libertarian. You can also just look up Noel Olin. On Instagram, that account's on fire. It's the Cajun Libertarian. But again, most of it's on X and YouTube. And you can find me pretty easily because I'm the only Cajun Libertarian with, I don't know, 50, 60 something thousand followers across platforms. So shouldn't be hard to find me. And my face is pretty recognizable. So is the background. So I can't thank you guys enough for having me. I thought this was absolutely amazing. Again, I know I do too much sometimes, But it's just awesome. And I hope you guys go follow and subscribe to this podcast with Shaun, Buds in Reality, and then also go follow Legacy and their podcast. What's it called again?
The legacy.
The
Right?
legacy, right? Yeah, the
Oh,
legacy,
my
right?
bad. I already said it. No, I thought you had something else. Yeah, the Legacy. I'm sorry. I thought there was
Oh,
another name.
yeah, Dragon. Yeah, it's on the Dragon Chain. I believe it's
Oh,
just
there it
called the
is. Yeah.
Dragon Chain Network on YouTube. If you want to subscribe to that, it's the World Blockchain Roundtable. So it's a number of hosts. It's hosted by Joe Roats. He's the lead engineer and founder of the Dragon
Architect.
Coin. Like the architect of the Dragon Coin Network. So and he runs a roundtable every week. For and then if you jump on and check out his Den Social, which is a social media alternative, it pays. It actually helps. It's helping to try to regulate a parallel economy where you
Nice.
can have a passive income through the social media. And then I think for everybody that's on the roundtable, not me and Andrew, since we've joined it a couple times, because we're not on Den Social, but everybody's rewarded for coming on as a host. He rewards people in a passive income of tokens on their platform, on their Den.social platform.
Awesome.
Outstanding.
So
Y'all follow
so
all those people. I'm the host of Off the Wire, Noel Lynn, aka the Cajun Libertarian. Shaun, thank you so much for having me, brother.
You guys are awesome. I appreciate it. Please like, share, follow, subscribe to all things. It's all Buds in Reality. Everything. BUDS, letter N, reality. I know you can spell it. And if you can't, go back to school.
That's right.
well, maybe not go back to school.
Yeah, well, not government school, anyways, or university. Go to your home school, please and thank you. But no, please like, share, follow, subscribe to all things. We are doing big things. There's more big things to come. There's some things in the work with some other podcasters that are going to be quite awesome. So please stay tuned. Till next time, peace, love, and liberty. Be good.